Welcome back to Anfield Signal. Liverpool transfer news amid $81 million talks as Chelsea target wants Anfield move. Liverpool transfer news as Richard Hughes is linked with a raid on his old club, while the Reds are tipped to beat Chelsea to an $81 million midfield target this summer. Liverpool is back on track for Champions League qualification, which will come as a major boost ahead of what will be another big summer. Saturday's 2-0 win over Fulham, courtesy of goals from Rio and Mohamed Salahs, means the Reds hold on to fifth in the Premier League, which will be enough to secure a spot at Europe's top table next season. That could prove to be crucial, even if another big spending spree like last summer is unlikely, with replacements for club legends Salah and Andy Robertson needed as a minimum, while other positions may need to be strengthened. Eli Jr. Krooppy, Bournemouth. Liverpool is among the clubs preparing to make a move for Eli Jr. Krooppy this summer, according to Court Offside. The 19-year-old bagged his 10th league goal of the season as he helped Bournemouth put a big dent in Arsenal's title hopes on Saturday, with interest said to be growing after his performance at the Emirates Stadium. Liverpool and Chelsea are said to hold a very concrete interest, with it suggested that the Reds sporting director Richard Hughes may have already held some conversations with his former club. It's also claimed that Bournemouth could let Krooppy go for around £60 million, $81 million. João Gomez, Wolves midfielder João Gomez has decided he wants a move to Liverpool over Chelsea or Manchester United, according to reports in Brazil. With Wolves almost certainly relegated from the Premier League at this point, clubs will no doubt be looking at Rob Edwards' side for any potential deals. Gomes is one of those who looks likely to move on, with South American outlet RTI claiming that Liverpool, Chelsea and United are all interested. Encouragingly for the Reds, the 25-year-old is said to want to move to Anfield. At present, it's suggested that Wolves is willing to do business for $81 million, although that price could come down after the club's relegation. Richard Hughes holds the key for Liverpool to sign generational talent. Liverpool are likely to endure an awful lot of changes in the upcoming summer transfer window. The Anfield outfit have been a fraction of their former selves this season, despite spending over £450 million on new players. Since the start of the campaign, fans have demanded that more talent is added to Arne Slot's ranks, with most of the fan base shocked that the Reds didn't sign a single player in January. However, since they didn't splash any cash during the winter window, there's a lot riding on the 2026 to 27 summer transfer window, with several players already being linked with a switch. And now that the end of the season is on the horizon, the rumour mill is going to go into overdrive. Liverpool are now concretely interested in Eli Jr. Krooppy, seeing as though Mohamed Salahs is definitely leaving at the end of the season. One of Liverpool's main priorities will be sourcing his replacement. The Egyptian king has been a stalwart among Liverpool's ranks for as long as many can remember, and even though he hasn't been at his best this term, he's still going to leave a massive void to fill. This is why it's hardly surprising to see players such as Yankuba Minte, Yan Diomande and Bazumana Toure constantly linked with an Anfield switch. However, as per a fresh update from Court Offside, Liverpool are now concretely interested in Bournemouth's Eli Jr. Krooppy. Liverpool and Chelsea have a very concrete interest in Krooppy. They're both really keen to make a deal happen this summer and are looking into it, they wrote. I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool have already had some conversations. Richard Hughes has a good relationship with his former club and will be on the phone to his counterparts there after that performance yesterday. Liverpool have some tough decisions to make in the summer, seeing as though Liverpool's recent recruitment process has been to sign young players with big potential. There's not really a better candidate than Krooppy. The attacker put in a fine performance for the Cherries on Saturday after they managed to beat Arsenal 2-1. He's already scored 10 goals this season, and the fact that one of his teammates described him as a generational talent proves how good he actually is. Although the Frenchman has played in a more central role for Andoni Iraola's men this term, in the past he's been used on the left wing and even as a right midfielder. This versatility, coupled with his keen eye for goal and the fact that he's only 19 years old, make him the perfect candidate for a Liverpool transfer. However, with how many young wingers there are available for Liverpool to sign this summer, it's clear that some tough decisions will need to be made, because even though they're one of the most well-known clubs in the world, their £450 million spend last summer will still be weighing heavily on their heads. And since the winger that comes in will need to be Salah's replacement, they need to be ready to step up and provide from the start. Mohamed Salah's advice to Liverpool rising star and personality trait people forget. Rio Ferdinand has revealed Mohamed Salah gave him some advice earlier this season about what he must do to become a top player for Liverpool after the youngster scored his first Anfield goal. Mohamed Salah offered up some advice to Liverpool starlet Rio Ferdinand after the teenage winger revealed what the Reds legend told him about what he needs to do to become a top player. Saturday's action saw Liverpool bounce back from their dismal showing in Europe against Paris Saint-Germain with a 2-0 win over Fulham, with Salah and Ferdinand the scorers for the Reds at Anfield. Ferdinand's goal was a superb effort which saw him cut inside from the left wing before bending a shot past Bernd Leno to make it 1-0 to Liverpool on 36 minutes. Then, shortly after the 17-year-old stunner, Salah scored a trademark goal, producing a curling first-time strike from inside the area to beat Leno again just minutes after Ferdinand scored past the German. In a season that will be Salah's final on Merseyside, it was almost symbolic that both he and Ferdinand, Liverpool's most promising young forward, found the back of the net on what has been a testing campaign for the Reds. The teenager has scored twice in the Premier League this season for the Reds, with his other goal sealing a dramatic 3-2 win for Liverpool over Newcastle United back in August. Before his superb performance against Fulham, Ferdinand has sat down with Sky Sports and explained that he looks up to Salah as a mentor. And during the interview, he also explained that the Egyptian offered him advice during training on what he must do to become a top player. Yeah, one time after training, he told me the top players, along with your ability, they also get goals and assists, said Ferdinand. Obviously, he has broken many records, so him saying that to me and saying he knows I'm a good player, but to get to the next level, just add the goals and assists. And the impact Salah has had upon Ferdinand did not end with the training advice. The 17-year-old who joined Liverpool back in 2024 from Chelsea also explained that Salah's kindness as a teammate is something that people may overlook, with Ferdinand admitting he has learnt a lot from the outgoing Reds forward. I watched them play Nottingham Forest last season at home, and then I got an opportunity to train with them a couple of weeks after. Seeing Mo, he has achieved basically everything in football. He's very friendly as well. Sometimes people forget that they're just people as well. Obviously, they have all the fame, but they are just nice people, and you learn a lot from them. Liverpool could make perfect signing for nothing this summer. Liverpool could be in the market for a new centre-back this summer, and it is reported that the Reds could be interested in signing a Spain international from La Liga. Liverpool has reportedly been approached over the possibility of signing a Spain international who is set to become a free agent this summer. Oscar Mingueza is expected to leave Celta Vigo when his contract expires at the end of the season, and Liverpool is reported by Team Talk to have been sounded out over the possibility of signing the right-sided defender. Arsenal and Manchester City are also said to be among the clubs that have been approached by Mingueza's intermediaries, and there is reportedly intrigue from all parties. Mingueza started his career at Barcelona, and the No Camp club is also reportedly weighing up whether to try and take him back to Catalonia. Mingueza has played 4 times for Spain and was a part of Spanish squad that finished as the runner-up in last summer's Nations League finals, but he has not been included in a squad since, which suggests he is unlikely to go to the World Cup this summer. Mingueza, who is primarily a centre-back but can also operate as a full-back, is said to be viewed as a possible option to add squad depth, particularly by Arsenal and Manchester City, rather than as an immediate starter. Liverpool is in the midst of a defensive overhaul, with Ibrahima Konate out of contract at the end of the season, and it's still unclear whether the Frenchman will sign a new deal at Anfield. Jarell Quansah was also sold last summer, while Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk are both approaching the final 12 months of their deals. Liverpool signed Giovanni Leone and Jeremy Jacquet during the last 2 transfer windows, with the club taking steps to prepare the squad for the long term in that area of the field. It was reported by L'Équipe last week that Liverpool and Konate have never been closer to agreeing a contract extension. The French defender has been persistently linked with a possible move to Real Madrid on a free transfer. However, Atletico Madrid said that talks between Liverpool and Konate have intensified in recent months, and that there are only a few remaining details to be ironed out in order for the defender to stay on Merseyside. It was suggested that unnamed clubs in Spain had laid out their proposals to Konate, but the most likely eventuality now is for the 26-year-old to stay at Anfield. Whatever happens, a definitive outcome is expected in the coming weeks, with Konate keen to have his future resolved well before the start of the World Cup in the middle of June. Rio Ferdinand left in awe of special Liverpool star. Liverpool added another 3 points to their Premier League tally on Saturday after they beat Fulham 2-0. Arne Slot chose to line his men up in a much more attacking formation than he usually uses, and in the first 45 minutes the Reds were the ones on top. Rio Ferdinand and Mohamed Salahs both got their names on the score sheet, with most fans thinking that they'd get another 1 or 2 goals in the second half. However, that was far from the case, with the Anfield outfit ending up being the worst team of the two after half-time. Despite this, there were still several members of Slot's squad who performed extremely well, with former Manchester United ace Rio Ferdinand sharing his adoration for one particular player. Rio Ferdinand was left in awe of Rio Ferdinand's performance versus Fulham. Even though Ferdinand is only 17 years old, he's been one of Liverpool's most exciting players this season. The Englishman offers something that no other member of Slot's first-team squad does, with his performances being reminiscent of Luis Diaz's. Despite this, Slot has often chosen against starting the youngster due to his age and the fact that he favours Cody Gakpo in that position. But after he managed to wrong-foot Timothy Castani and curl his shot into the bottom right corner of Bernd Lendo's net, it's clear that he's ready for regular first-team football. And since he performed so well, he seemingly caught the eye of Ferdinand, who was left in awe of the 17-year-old's performance. Rio, he wrote via his personal X account, "Love this kid. Special talent. Arne Slot must start Rio Ferdinand in their Champions League tie against Paris Saint-Germain, even though it still feels like Ferdinand is a tad young to be playing 90 minutes of football twice per week. There's no reason why Slot can't begin to start him more regularly. As mentioned, the Englishman offers something completely different to Gakpo and Salah, and with the way that football is going at the moment, it's clear that players will need to do better in 1v1 situations. This is something that Slot has been calling for since the start of the season, and after Liverpool's win against Fulham on Saturday, it's clear that Ferdinand is the answer to some of his problems. Indeed, the fact that 1 or 2 more wingers will be brought in during the summer transfer window could end up impacting the amount of game time he gets next term. But for now, it's clear that without Ferdinand among Liverpool's starting 11, they're highly unlikely to do anything. This is exactly why Slot must start the youngster against Paris Saint-Germain. He would be able to cause Luis Enrique's men all sorts of havoc and perhaps add that finishing touch that the Reds need to help them get back on track. Unbelievable Liverpool star set for surprise exit offer. Liverpool could end up being an entirely new look team by the start of the 2025-26 season. The Anfield outfit have been linked with several players over the last few weeks, with some deals even edging closer to completion. Despite this, the arrival of Jeremy Jacquet is the only confirmed transfer thus far. That is, even though the club already having a couple of their first team players running for the exit doors. With this in mind, it's hardly surprising to see so many clubs throwing their hat in the ring to try and sign those players who are choosing to exit L4. Hull City are keen on signing Andy Robertson if they get promoted. Andy Robertson is one of the 2 players who's guaranteed to be leaving Liverpool at the end of the current season. The Scotsman has been one of the Reds' most important players over the last few years, with his performances sometimes single-handedly winning the club games. However, due to the lack of playing time he's received under Arne Slot this season, he's chosen to leave the club upon the expiry of his contract in June 2026. Tottenham are the team leading the way for his signature at the moment, but a new report from Team Talk has shared that a championship team are now also vying for the transfer of the unbelievable star. However, Spurs are not the only club with interest. Celtic have not abandoned hope of bringing Robertson back to Scotland, while his former club Hull City are also monitoring the situation closely, they wrote. We understand that Hull have made it known internally that, should they secure promotion to the Premier League, they would be keen to put forward an offer. The Tigers currently sit in the final Championship playoff spot with 4 games of the regular season left to play. Liverpool have a lot of change coming their way this summer. The vast majority of the 2025-26 season has been a transitional stage for Slot's men. The Anfield outfit managed to win their first 5 games of the Premier League season, but from that point on, they were nowhere near as good as they were expected to be. A lot of this was down to the form of the players, but some of the decisions that have been made by Slot have also been questionable. But with Mohamed Salah and Robertson both leaving, it's clear that even more change is on its way. Whether it's for the better remains to be seen, but if Slot or whoever is in charge of Liverpool next season can manage to get all of Liverpool's players performing to the best of their ability, the Anfield outfit could be a force to be reckoned with.